Everyone in my family thinks I'm a loser. They don't say it outright. No, they're too polite for that. But it's in every conversation, every side glance, every strained smile at holidays. Especially since the accident. I'm 31, single, live in a modest apartment, and work as a freelance graphic designer, which is basically just code for unemployed artist in their eyes. My brother, Jordan? He's 28, a corporate lawyer with a fiancée, so stunning she could stop traffic. His life is the kind of polished Instagram-perfect fantasy that makes my mother glow like she gave birth to a Kennedy. I was never that. I was the kid who read in the corner instead of playing soccer. The one who dropped out of med school after my second year because my mental health nosedived. The one who spent a year in therapy instead of law school. My mother cried about that more than she cried at Grandma's funeral. So when the engagement dinner came up, I almost didn't go. I sat in my car for 15 minutes just staring at the restaurant. But then I thought, screw it. I was going to show up, smile, and eat the overpriced scallops like a functioning adult. The restaurant was one of those places with mood lighting and linen napkins that probably cost more than my weekly groceries. Jordan and Kelsey, his fiancée, were already there, mingling. My mom gave me that stiff smile she reserves for parent-teacher meetings and family court appearances. Dad didn't even look up from his scotch. It wasn't until Kelsey walked over and introduced herself that something felt off. She held out her hand, all poised and graceful. Hi, I'm Kelsey. It's so great to finally meet you. There was something in her eyes. Not recognition exactly, but confusion. Like she was trying to solve a puzzle in her head. I chalked it up to awkward family dynamics. We've all got baggage. Maybe she just didn't expect Jordan's brother to look like he came from a different gene pool and a much cheaper barber. Dinner went as expected. My mother recounted, for the 300th time, how Jordan won that regional mock trial in high school. My uncle asked when I was finally gonna get serious with life. And my dad, buzzed on his third drink, leaned over to me and said, "You know, not everyone's meant for success. You've got other gifts." Yeah, like invisibility. Then it happened. We were in the middle of dessert, some ridiculous pistachio rose tart, when Kelsey leaned across the table toward me. Her voice dropped to a whisper, almost trembling. "Wait, you're..." She trailed off. Everyone turned. The entire table went silent. Even the clinking of silverware stopped. My mother paled. Like blood-drained, lips parted, horror movie pale. Kelsey's eyes darted between me and her phone. Her hand slowly slipped it under the table like she was comparing something. I looked at her, confused. I didn't understand what she was getting at. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "I think we need to talk. Alone." And that's how the quiet black sheep of the family became the center of the storm. Kelsey's voice was barely above a whisper, but it hit the room like a pipe bomb. "I think we need to talk. Alone." I froze. Everyone at the table did. Except Jordan, who let out a confused laugh, like he thought she was joking. "Kels, babe, what are you talking about?" She didn't answer him. Her eyes were locked on me like I was a missing puzzle piece she'd just found under the couch. She was pale now too, clutching her phone so tightly I thought the screen might crack. I glanced at my mother. She looked like someone had just told her the Titanic sank again. "No," Mom said, voice sharp, warning, almost panicked. "Not here. Not tonight." Kelsey didn't look away. Now. She stood. I stood too, because what else could I do? I hadn't said a word since she whispered those 3 words. "Wait, you're..." I followed her past the waiter trying to deliver coffee and past a table of strangers now openly gawking. We walked out the front of the restaurant and stood in the tiny courtyard. String lights dangled above us like stars that knew how this was about to go down. Kelsey turned to face me. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest." I nodded slowly, heart thumping in my ears. "Were you ever in foster care?" she asked. What? The words didn't make sense at first. They just hung in the air like a glitch in the Matrix. "No," I said slowly. "Why would you think?" She cut me off. "Did your parents ever adopt a child who didn't stay?" That stopped me. I hadn't thought about her in years. I wasn't supposed to. There was a girl. Her name was Lily. I was 6 when she came to live with us. She was 5, tiny, dark curls, wide eyes that never blinked enough. My parents told me she was staying for a while. That while lasted 6 months. We played together, laughed, made blanket forts, even got matching Halloween costumes one year, Batman and Batgirl. Then one morning, she was gone. No warning. No explanation. My mother just told me not to ask. Later, I heard them whispering in the kitchen. "Not a good fit," my mom had said. She's just too damaged. I cried for days. But eventually, I buried it. Like everything else in this family. You knew her, didn't you? Kelsey asked, reading the look on my face. I stared at her. How do you know about Lily? I asked. She swallowed hard, like the truth was a bitter pill she'd been holding in too long. Because I am Lily. And just like that, the ground dropped out from beneath me. I stumbled back and sat on the edge of the fountain behind me. I didn't care that the marble was wet or that I probably looked insane. What the hell are you talking about? I whispered. Kelsey, Lily, whatever her name was now, sat beside me. She was shaking. I was adopted after your family gave me back. It messed me up for a long time. I went through so many homes. But I always remembered you. You were my only safe place. Tears were spilling down her cheeks now. 2 years ago, I started looking into my past. I wanted answers. I eventually got the adoption records unsealed. Your last name came up. I found Jordan online first, and when I saw a family photo, I recognized your mom. And you. I couldn't breathe. All this time, she was real. The memories weren't some fantasy. And somehow, she'd ended up in my life again, wrapped around my brother's arm. But you knew who Jordan was, I said. Why are you with him? She looked away, ashamed. I didn't know at first. We met at a conference. I thought the name was just coincidence. When I realized, I didn't know what to do. I thought, maybe, it didn't matter. That I could keep it separate. Until I saw you tonight. She turned to me again, desperate. I didn't plan any of this. But now I can and know it. And I need to understand. Why did your family send me back? I felt like I was underwater. My ears were ringing. My throat was dry. I was just a kid, I said. They never told me anything. One day you were there. The next you weren't. I asked, but they shut me down. They told me you were just a foster placement. Temporary. That it didn't matter. Her lip quivered. But it did matter. I thought something was wrong with me. I shook my head. It was never you, Lily. It was them. It was always them. We sat there in silence for a minute, two lost kids in adult bodies. Then she said something I wasn't ready for. I'm not going to marry him. I looked at her in shock. You can't drop this bomb and just... I'm not going to be part of that family, she said, pointing back toward the restaurant. Not after what they did. Not after they lied. And then the front door opened. My mother stood there, pale and furious. She stepped into the courtyard, and for the first time in my life, I saw something close to fear in her eyes. Lily, she said, voice low. You don't understand it. Kelsey stood up and cut her off. Don't. Just don't. My mother actually flinched. We were trying to help you. No. Lily snapped. You were trying to hide me. The door opened again. Jordan. He stepped outside, saw the scene, and looked like someone had just hit him with a sledgehammer. Kels? What's going on? Lily turned to me, gave a sad, almost apologetic smile, then walked straight toward Jordan. I'll tell you everything, she said to him. But not here. She walked right past our mom, took Jordan's hand, and led him to the car. My mother looked at me, eyes narrowing. This is your fault, she hissed. I didn't flinch. I just looked her dead in the eyes and said, no, it's yours. They didn't come back inside after that. Jordan and Kelsey, Lily, got into his car and drove off, leaving a stunned, awkward silence in their wake. The engagement dinner continued for maybe 5 more minutes, just long enough for my mother to scold the waiter for bringing the wrong dessert and for my uncle to awkwardly mutter something about traffic before fleeing. I didn't stay. I walked out into the night with my hands still shaking and a million questions rattling around in my head like broken glass in a jar. But one thing was clear, nothing about my family, my past, or even myself felt real anymore. The next day, I got a text from Jordan. We need to talk. Come over. Just you. I wasn't sure what kind of ambush that might be, but I went. When I arrived, I expected Kelsey, Lily, to be gone. I half imagined she'd bailed, left a note, and ghosted the entire family. But no, she was sitting on the couch, looking like she hadn't slept. Jordan stood in the corner like a man watching his world collapse in real time. I sat down across from them. Jordan was the first to speak. She told me everything, he said. And I believe her. I blinked. You do. He nodded slowly, eyes bloodshot. At first, I thought it was some elaborate prank or a mistake. But we looked at the photos. Old ones. I compared her baby pictures to that photo of you and Lily in the treehouse. It's her. There's no doubt. I didn't know whether to be relieved or terrified. He turned to Lily and then back to me. What I don't get is why no one ever told me. I laughed bitterly. Because that's how they operate, Jordan. Silence, secrets, and shame. If something's inconvenient, they bury it. They did it to me for years. Why wouldn't they do it to her too? Jordan sat down next to her. He looked wrecked. So what now? I asked. Lily looked up. I need answers. Jordan nodded. We all do. So the three of us did something unthinkable. We showed up unannounced at my parents' house. My mother opened the door and looked like she'd seen a ghost, fitting, considering that was exactly what Lily was to her. My father appeared in the background, arms crossed, already defensive. Can we come in? Jordan asked, his voice flat. My mom hesitated. You've caused enough trouble. No, Jordan snapped. You caused this. You hid a whole human being from us. After a pause, she stepped aside. We sat in the living room like it was a hostage negotiation. My mother perched on the edge of the armchair like a queen refusing to acknowledge the court jester. My father didn't sit. He stood in the doorway with his arms crossed like a bouncer at a nightclub. Lily was calm. Scarily calm. I want to know why, she said. Why did you send me away? My mother pursed her lips. You were troubled. I was 5. You threw tantrums. All kids do. My mom looked at my dad like she wanted backup. He just sighed. You bit another kid, he said. At daycare. Lily blinked. I was 5 and scared out of my mind. I had been taken from my birth mom and dumped into a strange house. You expected me to behave like I was ready for Sunday school. You weren't a good fit, my mother said, as if that explained everything. Jordan stood. So you just returned her? Like she was a defective blender? She wasn't your sister, she said quietly. Not really. Jordan stepped toward her. But she was. And you lied about it. I expected her to cry, or scream, or defend herself. Instead, she stood up, walked to the window, and stared out in silence. Then she said something that floored me. I didn't think she'd survive in this family. We all froze. I didn't want to be a mother again. Not really. Your father wanted to foster. He thought it would make us better people. I went along with it because I thought maybe it would fix things between us. But when Lily came, I realized I couldn't love another child. The silence that followed was deafening. You could have said that, Lily whispered. You wouldn't have understood. You didn't even try, she shot back. You didn't even say goodbye. My mother turned to face her, eyes glistening. I thought you were better off not remembering us. Well, I did. Her voice cracked, and for the first time since that dinner, I saw Lily look truly vulnerable. Not angry. Not curious. Just hurt. I looked at my dad. Did you ever plan to tell us? He shook his head. No. What good would it have done? That was the final straw. Jordan picked up his keys. We're done here. He walked toward the door and turned back just long enough to say, Don't call me. Don't show up at the wedding. Don't expect to be part of our lives after this. My mother gasped. Jordan, don't do this. But he already had. We walked out the door together. Me. Jordan. Lily. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about the kid in the treehouse. The sister I never really had. The way one dinner broke open decades of silence like a sledgehammer through stained glass. And I realized something. I wasn't the failure of the family. I was just the first one to stop pretending. 2 weeks later, Jordan canceled the wedding. No big announcement. No social media drama. Just a quiet email to guests. The engagement is off. Thank you for understanding. He didn't blame Lily. He blamed our parents. After that night, the three of us stayed in touch. Not in some fairy tale reunion kind of way, but real, cautious, new. I learned she never changed her name because she never felt like she belonged anywhere long enough to need one. Jordan moved out of our parents' orbit entirely. He even cut contact with our mother, which I honestly never thought I'd see. It rattled her. She sent him long emails, guilt-ridden voice messages, even a handwritten letter. He never replied. I kept my distance too. For once, I wasn't the disappointment. I was the one Jordan confided in. We'd talk late into the night, processing years of family lies neither of us realized we'd swallowed whole. Then came the real twist. Lily reached out to her birth mother. They met for coffee. Just one awkward, emotional, strangely healing hour. Turned out her mother wasn't some monster, just a woman who made one huge mistake in a moment of crisis and paid for it with years of separation. She said something that stuck with me. Sometimes family is the one that breaks you. Sometimes it's the one that chooses you instead. Lily had chosen us, me and Jordan. The wedding may have been canceled, but something else started to bloom. A new kind of sibling bond. No obligation. Just survival. We were finally rewriting the story we never got to finish. But we hadn't seen the last of our parents. We thought cutting ties would be the end of it. We were wrong. It started with a letter, not from our parents, but from their lawyer. Apparently, our mother had updated her will. According to the letter, she was planning to leave everything, the house, the assets, the retirement accounts, to Jordan. Not a surprise. What was shocking was the clause. The inheritance was conditional. He'd only receive it if he reconciled with our parents and cut off contact with Lily. Lily, the girl they once returned like expired milk. Jordan showed me the letter. I could see it in his face, conflict, disbelief, and disgust all at once. They're still trying to control me, he said. Even now. He didn't reply. He didn't need to. The next week, my mother called me. First time in months. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't apologize. She got straight to the point. You need to talk to your brother. He's ruining everything. I laughed. You already ruined everything. We're just cleaning it up. That's when she said it. She isn't your sister. Not legally. Not emotionally. She never was. That hit harder than I expected. Then why are you so afraid of her? Silence. Then she hung up. Later that night, Lily messaged us both in the group chat. Simple. Direct. I don't want anything from them. Just truth. And peace. Jordan responded with a photo. It was a ring box. He was going to propose again, this time on his terms. No lies. No parents. No pressure. Just him and her. But the moment our parents found out, they showed up. At her job. In person. Public. Emotional. And absolutely unhinged. Lily works in event coordination, weddings, mostly. Which meant our mother's ambush was both ironic and vicious. She showed up during a venue walkthrough, flanked by my father and a poor attempt at tears. Lily was mid-discussion with a bride when she looked up and saw them standing near the cake table, like ghosts in broad daylight. The bride freaked. Lily froze. My mom pounced. Lily, sweetheart, we just want to talk. Lily's face went pale. She calmly told the bride she'd call later and walked them outside before security got involved. I showed up 10 minutes later. Jordan had called me, panicked. They were in the parking lot. My father stood like a bodyguard while my mother clung to a tissue like it was a performance prop. You've made your point, she said. But you're breaking this family. Lily didn't flinch. You broke it the day you abandoned me. My mom stepped forward. You think you know the whole story, but you don't. Then tell it. She hesitated. Then, for the first time, the truth slipped out, not polished, not rehearsed. We were drowning, she admitted. Financially. Emotionally. We thought fostering would help with money. Jordan cut in. So she was a paycheck? Mom didn't deny it. Lily shook her head. And when the money stopped, so did I. That was it. Jordan stepped between them. If you ever show up at her job again, I'll file for a restraining order. You're overreacting, Dad barked. No, I said, stepping in beside him. You're just not used to being told no. We left them standing in that lot, stunned. A week later, Lily announced her engagement again. But this time, it was just us. A small dinner, no spectacle, just real love and hard-earned peace. And then she showed us the gift. A flash drive. I've been recording everything, she said. Every conversation. Every lie. I'm done hiding. Jordan looked at her, stunned. Wait. You're going to expose them? She smiled. Not yet. But I want them to know I could. The flash drive sat on the table between us like a loaded weapon. Lily had been recording since the day of the engagement dinner, calls, meetings, ambushes. Not to destroy them outright, she said. Just in case. Jordan didn't say much at first. Just stared at it like it might explode. Then, what's on it? Lily leaned back. Proof. That they abandoned me. That they tried to bribe you. That they ambushed me at work. Everything. He nodded slowly. And what do you plan to do with it? I don't want revenge, she said. But I do want leverage. Something to keep them from pulling this crap again. I spoke up. So they know the next time they twist the truth, you twist back harder. She smirked. Exactly. And it worked. We didn't say anything to our parents. But Jordan started acting different, colder, more distant. When Mom texted to apologize, he responded with one sentence. You should know Lily has everything. It took 3 minutes before she called him in a panic. He didn't answer. That's when the tone changed. My mother, the master manipulator, started spinning a new story, one where she was the victim. The overwhelmed mother. The misled foster parent. The misunderstood matriarch. Emails went out. Long, dramatic essays to extended family about her heartbreak. About betrayal. about false accusations. Then, something wild happened. Our aunt, her own sister, responded publicly on Facebook. You sent that little girl back like a defective Amazon order. And now you're mad she's not pretending it never happened? Grow up. The post exploded. Cousins chimed in. Old friends. People we hadn't heard from in years. Every skeleton they thought they'd buried came back with the spotlight. My mother deleted her account. The family group chat died in silence. And Lily? She finally smiled. They always thought they were untouchable, she said. I just reminded them they're not. But it wasn't over. A week later, Jordan got a letter. Not from our parents. From a lawyer. They were trying to sue Lily. The envelope was thick, pretentious, legal stationery with a waxy seal like they were royal exiles declaring war. They're suing her for defamation, Jordan said, tossing it on my kitchen table like it was cursed. I picked it up. For what? Telling the truth? They claim she's damaging their reputation, he said, laughing bitterly. As if they didn't do that themselves. Lily didn't flinch. She just read through the documents silently. Then she said, Good. Jordan blinked. Good. I was hoping they'd try something stupid, she said. Because now I fight back. She contacted a lawyer the next day, a real pit bull. The kind of woman who wears power suits like armor, and smiled when Lily handed over the flash drive. You're going to want to keep them talking, the lawyer said. Let them keep digging. Every call, every email, recorded. So we did. Our parents, unaware of the trap, doubled down. They sent emails to relatives demanding support. They even tried to contact Lily's employer to accuse her of slandering the family business. Except Lily didn't work for just anyone. She worked with venues, and every venue has cameras, records, security footage. There was proof of the parking lot ambush, of them showing up uninvited, of my mother yelling, You were a mistake. It was all handed over. Lily's lawyers sent a counter notice. A warning. Pursue this lawsuit and all evidence will become public record. That's when everything changed. They dropped the suit. Quietly. Pathetically. And then? They went silent. No contact. No calls. No more fake apologies. It was over. But Jordan wasn't done. At the next family gathering, one we were all shockingly invited to, he stood up during dinner. He clinked a glass and said the one thing they never expected. We're getting married next month. Everyone's welcome, except our parents. The room froze. My mother blinked. My father turned red. Lily smiled like a queen. And I raised my glass to the chaos. The day of the wedding was warm. Clear skies. Not a single sign of the storm brewing beneath it all. Lily looked stunning, simple dress, no veil, hairpin with tiny silver stars. Jordan stood beside her in a navy suit, no tie, no nerves. Just steady hands and the look of a man who had finally chosen his own family. I was his best man. An honor I never thought I'd get, not from the golden boy of the family. But that's the thing, he wasn't their golden boy anymore. The ceremony was small. 30 people, tops. Close friends. Some extended family. The kind who saw the truth and didn't pretend not to. And no parents. Our mother tried to contact him the night before. Left a voicemail. You'll regret this. We're your family. He didn't even listen to the whole thing. At the ceremony, Lily stood before him with tears in her eyes, but not from pain. From peace. Families break, she said during her vows. But sometimes, they rebuild. Not with the people who hurt us, but with the ones who stood beside us when the truth came out. Jordan didn't cry. But I did. Quietly. They kissed. Everyone cheered. After the ceremony, during the reception, Jordan raised a glass. I used to think family was something you had to suffer through. That it was a blood contract you couldn't escape. But I learned something in the last year: family is a choice. And I'm choosing this one. Applause. Laughter. Lily beamed at him like he'd handed her the whole damn sky. And then, near the end of the night, a car pulled into the venue driveway. A black sedan. Our mother stepped out. In pearls. Of course she wore pearls. She didn't make it past the entrance. Security stopped her. She tried to cry. Claimed she was just here to leave a card. Jordan didn't move. Didn't blink. Just turned to me and said, She's not real anymore. Lily tossed her bouquet over the railing and said, Guess we don't need to burn bridges if they already collapsed. We didn't speak to them again. We don't plan to. That night, Jordan and Lily danced under a string of lights, laughing like people who survived a war. And me? I sat back and watched. Not the failure son. Not the forgotten sibling. Just a brother who finally got to see justice done. Because sometimes the real love story isn't the couple getting married. It's the family you choose when the truth finally breaks free.